I haven't been eating too healthy recently. I'm a stress eater. So I'm getting myself back on track this week with a how not to age meal prep using Dr. Greger's recipes. My plan is pretty ambitious with breakfast, dessert, and 2 main courses coming up, and they both have leafy greens in them, which hopefully I won't taste. I still find leafy greens intimidating, but I know I'll be proud of myself later this week once I've eaten them. Plus, they'll help my mood and my collagen. So grab a tea, I've got Irish breakfast today, and let's begin with prep. Or pre-prep. Both of my baked recipes today require some sweetness from Dr. Greger's date syrup. Check your dates for seeds as they split up into annoying chunks in your syrup. Then soak the dates in hot water overnight. By the way, I just use the cheap dates, not medjool ones. I don't see the point of using expensive dates just to blitz them up. I'm also defrosting my berries in advance. Yes, it's lazier to just heat them straight up, but with living expenses being what they are these days, this is something extra I do now. I'm also blitzing my flax seeds and my wheat germ for my baked oatmeal. Wheat germ is an amazingly simple anti-aging ingredient and it's probably my favorite of today's. Some walnuts too for the crumble, and I'm also going to get my spices out so it's all ready to make me happy tomorrow. For actual prep, I'm chopping up most of my veg beforehand. I've got broccoli for later in the week, but I didn't want to waste the stalks, so I'm going to throw them into this butternut soup. I love how broccoli helps to slow down not just one, but several anti-aging pathways, so I have a lot more respect for broccoli since reading How Not to Age. The recipe calls for a large butternut, and I think this one is fat but short, so I'm glad I've got the broccoli stalks here as well. Look at all that beta-carotene in that gorgeous orange. A carotenoid-rich diet is the lifestyle factor most associated with slower aging, and it's going to make eating my kale a lot easier too. Do you eat vegetable soups with just veg in them? As a rule, I always add some beans or barley to fill me up, but like I said, I haven't been eating well recently, so I really want to focus on my veggies this week. Which means I'll need a treat, and I picked the berry crumble. There's nuts, oats, and I added extra cinnamon for antioxidants, and it's all blitzed down into a pulp, which I'll save for later. Mixing the date paste is the final step of my pre-prep meal prep, and I keep lemon pulp in my freezer to grab whenever I need. And there is the all-natural date syrup. Which means it's time for dessert. The mixed berries are more anti-inflammatory than just one on its own, and then the homemade lemon pulp and date syrup add to the flavor. I don't have chia, so I'm subbing in the flaxseed as the binder instead, and it worked out fine actually. For the crumb, nut butter is used as a healthier alternative to oil, and I find it easier to mix it with the liquidy sweetener before adding the dry ingredients. It just makes mixing easier. Oh, and look at the color of those berries. I'm in antioxidant heaven here. I also chose this dessert as it goes in the oven and leaves the stovetop free for the main dishes, but while that's in the oven, I'm going to prep my second baked meal of the day, carrot cake oatmeal. Like I said, I've been stressed recently, so starting with 2 easy peasy recipes gives me confidence and motivation. And adding carrots to breakfast, I love feeling like I've achieved something important so early in the morning. And I'm cheating by mixing it all into the bakeware to save me a bit of washing later. These chopped walnuts are going in to make the texture of the oat slice more interesting, as well as slow down my aging even more. And perfect timing, the crumble is done. Now for the soup. By the way, are you a long-term fan of Dr. Greger? Do you only eat red onion now? Okay, water instead of oil, it works, and sauteing the onion and garlic, buckets of butternut and broccoli, and it's going to sit for 10 minutes while I prep my favorite anti-inflammatory food in the world, ginger, which along with the curry powder helps mask the taste of one of my least favorite foods in the world, kale, which it counts as a leafy green and a cruciferous vegetable, so I had to include it. And again, I'll be so proud of myself once I've eaten this later in the week. I've found that when it's chopped into small pieces, I don't really notice it in recipes, so this is one of my favorite tricks for eating more kale. If you're not familiar with Dr. Greger's recipes, he adds miso instead of straight salt, as miso doesn't have the negative impact in your blood pressure like salt does. I tried a few brands before finding this miso flavor that I liked, and I don't regret not having salt anymore. And with the oat bake done, there is only one recipe to go. Or rather, half of one. During pre-prep, I also put some potatoes into the Instant Pot so that they would be ready for the spicy potato and spinach quesadillas. So we're on the home stretch now, but these mushrooms make the effort worth it as they are super rich in the anti-aging vitamin spermidine, and they are also good for your immune system. And yum, of course. And everything goes into the Instant Pot along with a couple cubes of chipotle sauce that I wanted to use up from my freezer. The spinach bakes right down to get lost in the mushrooms and the potatoes of this quesadilla, which is why I thought I could eat both spinach and kale in the same week, which normally I don't have the motivation for. And honestly, I'm not an experienced meal prepper, so I just wrapped it up quickly to feed my hungry stomach after all of this. And that's it. I've got breakfast for the whole week, lunch and dinner until about Wednesday, and dessert for maybe a day or two. Now it's time for taste testing. The berry crumble had an impressive topping. It was so thick compared to the amount of berries. I even ate it for breakfast too sometimes, even though I had lots of carrot cake oatmeal slices to work my way through as well. But the quesadillas were my favorite. Once I prepped them properly and added some tomato for freshness, these tasted like a real treat.